Inquisition with Dave Hammer 40k. We are now live on the Inquisition page, which is absolutely fantastic. I think there might have been a cooldown that once you open up the page you can't go live for a month or something with Instagram, which I totally understand. I hope you're all well, folks, and I'm hoping this will be as smooth sailing as possible with adding people and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, hope you've all had a good Wednesday. I hope you've all had a good week. Hopefully the weather is a wee bit more pleasant to us over the weekend. It's been a bit pishy here in Donegal. How's the weather all where you are? And yeah, let's get this rocking and rolling on the road. Hopefully Penge isn't going to be too late and we should have Dave Hammer on relatively quickly as well. So if you've been up to much, let us know in the chat. If you have any questions for Dave Hammer, throw them in the chat as well, and we'll try and get them as quickly as we possibly can. What we've all been working on? I've been working on some Death Guard, as always, trying out a different couple of techniques thanks to Infernal Miniatures, and hoping to get really on it. Over the weekend, my wife's away. I might be going fishing on Saturday, so I might try and get some painting done Friday, and then I'll be picking the wee wifey up on Sunday. Hoping to get a wee bit of painting done on Saturday evening as well. If I don't go fishing, I'll be painting all day Saturday. So yeah, if you've been watching any good TV shows, let us know in the chat. Any recommendations, let me know if you've been watching Fortune Hotel. It's coming up. I think this is the penultimate episode tonight. We've got one more episode after tonight. So yeah, let's get this rocking and rolling. I've been doing this Death Guard. I stripped him down, and yeah, I'm happy with how he's turning out. Working on my Grey Knight scheme. It's actually turned out better than what I thought it would have been. Hoping to get these bad boys finished over the weekend as well. I've got my air brush as well. Still trying to get, excuse me, I'm still trying to get a hold of a hand of the used to this. So yeah, in typical Penge's way, what can we do? So some of the new models are pretty good. I've started doing some Horus Heresy models. Still working on my Grey Knight scheme, but I think I may have found it by accident now. And yeah, back on the old Death Guard as well. Can't get a good Death Guard player down. Alright, Maria, how you doing? Thanks for joining, dude. How you getting on this week? Have you been doing much? How's your week been? How's work going if you're working? How do you feel about there's Dave Hammer there. How you doing, mate? I will send you a request. I will send you one now. Hopefully we can get this up and running as smoothly as possible. My good fellow. Is there better late than never, old Pengy boy? I've sent you an invite as well, Penge. Let's see if we can get the Inquisition. Your washing machine's going. Excellent. See if they climb in right. Dave, I sent you an invite there, so hopefully you get that. Yeah, I'm doing well. My week's been going quite well. I've got to go into the office tomorrow, which I'm not too happy about, but it is what it is. Let's go live with Dave Hammer 40k and see if this works first time. It'd be pretty fantastic if it has to. I've just been mumbling for the last 5 minutes. Set. Maybe 1 week we'll get on with.
Hello.
Yeah, there, the main man himself.
You right?
Yeah, I'm good, man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Cheers.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you loud and clear. Yeah, absolutely fine.
Perfect. So Penge is just going to be another few minutes.
I saw he's got some stuff with his washing machine to do.
Like he could have timed it. He could have timed it. Penge and his timing is second to none. Like he'll be late for your own train. Know that, man.
I have to say that is wife time. That is.
Yeah.
It'll be literally his. It'll be, the only reason why I managed to get away with that is because my missus is on holiday at this point in time.
Oh
So,
man, there's gonna be like piles of dishes and washing everywhere for when she comes back. Then I imagine.
well, maybe a couple, but my life wouldn't be worth living if I didn't get them cleaned. So,
Top tip top tip for anybody whose partners goes away and can't be bothered doing washing ups. Just get paper plates. It's all good, and
yeah,
then put them in your compost. They're all
yeah.
good.
That's not a bad idea actually. I'll remember that for next time.
So, Dave, I just want to say thanks very much for joining us tonight in the Inquisition. Been a long time waiting to get you on. I just want to give a couple of shout outs before
Yeah,
we
go
get
for it.
into this as well. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, so we've all just want to say a big shout out to our sponsors, Bolstone Wargaming and Elements of Power. If you're in about Leak, which apparently is a real place in England, jump into Bolstone Wargaming, they'll sort you out. And if you're looking for a new tabletop game, Elements of Power, the newest, baddest tabletop game, ready to rock and roll. And here we have Sir Penge himself. Hopefully he can join without any issues. There he is there, the man himself.
Washing machine doesn't shut up. It was on like a mad cycle a minute ago. It was like fucking typical. It waits till I'm actually having to do something to start spinning. Shit out.
All right.
So I just want to kick off then for this. We're a wee bit of a different start this week. So I was speaking to Dave earlier on today and just talking about like coming onto the Inquisition. Now, if it wasn't for Dave back in July last year doing a podcast with I can't remember her name now.
Battleforce Daughter. I can't.
Battleforce Daughters. Then there wouldn't
brain's-
have been an Inquisition. I was coming back from a fishing trip last July when I seen old Dave Hammer on a Sunday with Battle Dice Daughter, and I was like, do you know what? That's actually a good idea doing this. So that's why I always try to stay away from a Sunday morning. I don't want to step on Dave's toes. So I just want to say thanks for the inspiration, Dave, by letting us getting this up and running. Because you obviously didn't know this until I spoke to you earlier on today.
No, I didn't know that at all, actually, mate. And I'm, it's really nice of you to say, actually, because my whole thinking behind that was actually, because I come onto Instagram. I had a big break from the hobby, and I come back onto Instagram. So I thought this would be a nice place to share your things, and all the interviews were all the same, with all the same faces, all the time. And I thought to myself, well, actually, I don't, people with 20,000, 30,000 followers, they've got a platform. I don't want to talk to them. I want to talk to people who've got like 20 or 40 or, a couple of hundred maybe, and that sort of stuff. And actually, because, quite a lot of people's work just goes under the radar. And especially, I thought with that, especially people who are starting off and who are new in the hobby. I've been doing the hobby for the better part of 30 years now. So, it's nice to see the enthusiasm sort of going through with other people. And I think so I'm rambling a little bit now, but I think, the pandemic sort of gave a lot of people an option to come back into the hobby.
Yeah, and I actually watched back that Battle Dice Daughter today, and when you actually asked a few of the questions that I put into chat as well, which was fantastic. So we'll kick off with the normal first question, which we asked everybody. What age were you when you get into Warhammer? What was the first thing that you painted?
So the first time I physically remember Warhammer, I was must have been 6 or 7. So that is 30 years ago. I had a friend, Richard, who I'm still best mates with, and he came back from holiday with the metal Warhammer Giant.
Oh, yeah.
Fantasy Battle 1. I don't know if you remember it. It was had a big club, just sort of stood there, big keg of ale. I just thought it was fascinating. And then sort of, I grew up in a small town called Stafford. It didn't have a Games Workshop, so periodically you'd see a few figures and whatnot. And then in about the late 90s, a gaming store opened up called Two Fat Goblins, and it was actually spelled Two Fat Goblins as in TOO. rather than TWO, so Two Fat Goblins, and yeah, just sort of escalated from there, really. Started collect a few things. I managed to borrow an army of Necrons for my first game, which I've sort of swung back round to now at the moment, with the when 9th edition was released and the Indomitus box set came out. I still remember that first game. First turn, I managed to send some scarabs into a Land Raider and blew it up with the first dice roll. So I was kind of hooked from there, really. The dice have never been as kind to me since then. But yeah, and then I came to university in Nottingham. Obviously, Games Workshop was around the corner. I initially thought to myself, well, actually, no, let's, I'll try to move away from my nerdy hobbies. But then somebody moved in next door, and it turns out he knew my family through some reason. So we got chatting, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I play Warhammer," and it's like, "Oh, okay, let's go down to Warhammer World and have a look around." And that was when they were releasing. I don't know if you remember Apocalypse in
Yes.
4th edition, tail end of 4th edition, start of 5th edition, and yeah, met a load of people through the gaming club network there. But yeah, just periodically, just in about 2012, I sort of dropped out of the hobby for a bit of time because only about 5 minutes into this, I'm already about to slag off Games Workshop. But they killed the Gaming Club network. I don't know if you ever came across the Gaming Club network.
Yes, I kind of remember it. Yeah.
Because they basically said that for anybody to host a Games Workshop event, they need to be CRB checked.
Mm-hmm.
And that was arduously expensive for clubs which were basically relying on maybe £1 a year for a fee. So it kind of disintegrated. I tried a bit of War Machine, tried a bit of X-Wing. Then 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons came out, and that was very much met a bunch of great people through that. But then the pandemic kicked in.
Mm-hmm.
Miniatures came back out, and I just thought to myself, well, actually, I've got a bit of spare time now. Let's start painting some things again. So I chose the classic Necron ski with silver. Got them done in quick time, and just sort of got hooked from there again. Really started to paint some Space Marines, and then jumped onto Instagram, started to just post some pictures, started chatting to people. Noticed Pink Party Scott was in the comments. Managed to jump on a live stream with him as well. That was quite fun actually. It's just nice to be able to sit down and have that bit of chat and bit of banter with people who share the same hobby.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And since I've gotten back on as soon as I started back on, like getting back into all of this sort of stuff, I was sitting there and I was thinking, if I'm going to do this, none of my mates are really that into it.
Yeah.
So how do I bridge that gap? And Instagram's bridged it perfectly,
Yeah.
And if I didn't know that myself about Dunk listening to yourself on somebody else's podcast, so really, yeah, this is your fault that I'm here with him. So it's your to blame.
That's fine.
But
that's fine.
no, it's
as I say to Ryan, blame the English. It's all our fault.
The only thing I didn't steal from him was the dice roll, because I think when he was doing it, he was like rolling dice. It was questions by dice or something.
Yeah. I thought that would be a bit of a novelty, because actually it's an opportunity to, how many times can you roll a unique number on a dice without any re-rolls and whatnot. I had planned to get some dice sort of commission for that. And send them out to people who had done, but I never got around to it, much to my shame. Other things unfortunately sort of got in the way, and then it's sort of the moment was lost for that. But that was fun. It was actually I might get back to doing it at some point. Actually, I was talking about it with First Rank Fire on his podcast a while back, and he was saying, he was saying, "Are you going to do it again?" And I was like, "Well, actually, yeah, I might do it again, but I need to kind of find the time for it." And I've recently moved jobs, and it's just got quite intensive for, and also as well, kind of come off the back of doing a few charity projects as well. And I kind of just want to sit and watch things for a while, and paint some of my own projects.
Yeah, it is funny that you mentioned the charity project stuff, because that's how I've started talking to you. And I'll tell you what, I'm not going to ask you about that now. We'll ask you about that sort of stuff later. Let's focus on yourself for the time being. I will say one of the big things recently, that if people in the chat watching this back, you don't follow Dave, you should. But you've been quite big online recently with respect to Mental Health Week.
Yeah.
And I have to say that it is great that you do, because there are so many people out there that, I mean, Dunk and me talk about it on here every now and again, that, you're being open with the greater community and saying, right, have a chat to me. Got any questions, let me know. We'll go through them all.
Yeah.
Do you really feel that, in a way, that this is helping build the community more, rather than just, like you're saying, I'm a big account, I've got 30,000 followers.
Yeah.
Look at my Horus Heresy thing.
Yeah. I completely hear what you're saying with that, because I think mental health is it's one of those things which I'm quite I'm employed as an NHS nurse, and I work in the I'm now doing training, but I've been a nurse for it'll be 15 years this year, and I think the thing is that when I first started, the conversations about mental health started to change, and it became much more sort of accepted that people were having mental health issues.
Yeah.
But I think that awareness is there, but that understanding that needs a bit more in-depth conversations, because it's for example, how do you access mental health services? Well, it's different all across the there's different services all across the country, but there's similarities. There's similarities everywhere with how the NHS is organised. So, and that information is that the internet is very, very difficult for trying to find information. But actually, if I need to Google. I feel I'm in a mental health emergency. I need to Google a crisis team, put the county which you're in, or put the city which you're in, crisis team, say Leeds, for example, or crisis team Nottingham, or what have you. That number should come up fairly easily. But also as well, I think I said to Dunk, I'm not going to go into politics, but the state of the NHS at the moment is difficult. So actually, how do you what else can you access? So in the video I put up today, I talk about some of the voluntary services which are available in regards to sort of supporting mental health as well, and being able to access those is it's quite helpful, because sometimes actually I know from working in places, sometimes somebody doesn't want to talk to a nurse, somebody just wants to go and leave, but actually after they've left they might actually change their mind. So what do they then go and access, if that makes sense?
Yeah, it
especially
does.
Especially if trying to get into GP is as bad as trying to get into mine is.
Yeah, it's GPs generally. I mean, my place at the moment is ridiculous, but I really feel like it's a good way. What you've done is a good way of sort of you've got your hobby stuff, but you're also using that as a platform to sort of reach out to people, which I don't think really a lot of sort of accounts do enough of. I mean, I'm guilty of it myself. Me and Dunk, like I say, we've been open about our own problems in the past, and even recently, I know some people have gone through a few things, but it's really good that you are putting more than just your minis on this.
No, thank you for that. And actually, I'm going to say Adam, Adeptus Aestheticus. I'm not sure if you've come across him, but he does his weekly mental health shout outs. And I saw those, and actually he lives in Nottingham, and we periodically go, and I thought to myself, well, actually Adam's doing that. What can I do to sort of support and to
Mhm.
show that, because actually I did some videos I did some videos in Mental Health Week last week, and I thought last year, but I thought to myself, well, actually, let's do a series of videos again this year, because actually things change. People might not have seen those videos last year. It's still an opportunity to talk about it, because I think that's the major thing, that actually people don't talk about their mental health. Their mental health gets worse, and then they don't talk about their mental health. Yeah, I am in Nottingham, Dibs Paints. Yeah, I'm almost in Derby, but won't go into that. But yeah, I've been talking to Adam about that, because actually he does that weekly mental health sort of shout out, and I think that's really powerful as well, because he's he's getting people to talk about their mental health, and to he's getting people to talk about it, and to to be open about it, because I think that's the hardest part about being open about your mental health, because you're worried that people might judge you or treat you differently, and actually that's quite a lot of the reasons why people don't talk about their mental health, because they're worried what other people will say about it, and actually they're worried that actually people might invalidate how they're feeling, or treat them differently. And yeah, people probably will treat you differently, but that's because they're concerned about you and they care about you. And actually, I think we're still sort of built on the stereotypes of 30, 40 years ago, that actually we're worried that that's what's going to happen if we actually reach out and talk to somebody about it, that we're going to be, that we might be locked away in a hospital, which, and it's antiquated thinking in regards to that. It's only sort of if, the mental health act is only used as the last possible resort to protect somebody. More often than not, it will be people using a combination of medication, talking therapies, and lifestyle changes to improve their mental health. But that can sometimes be, difficult to do, especially with the way life is at the moment, work and those other pressures, and actually feeling, well, actually I can't take the time off, because actually if I take the time off, I'm not going to have my wage coming in, so that's going to make things harder for me in regards to that. So it's about how you fit into that as well. But again, I'm sort of rambling a little bit.
Fine, mate, don't worry about it.
I just feel like with men, women obviously have their own mental health issues, so I can't really speak on women's part. But you feel that men more bottle up their feelings. There's that whole man up, and real men don't cry, and we need to get away from that. And don't get me wrong, like I've been guilty of saying that to my son, for fuck's sake, man up and get on with it. Get up, and we need to get away from that and talk about our feelings. Like, I'm obviously, as anybody who watches us, I'm ex-military, so like I've went through some trials and tribulations. I've lost a lot of mates that have had to battle their demons, and they've lost that battle, and especially living in Donegal as well, there's a very high suicide rate amongst young men here as well, and it's that fear of like chatting to their mates or chatting to somebody, because they've got that stigma in their head that they'll get slagged off or everybody will know. We need to move away from that as a group of people. You know what I mean?
100%, and I think that's what you said about young men is very true. The highest the highest cause of mortality rates amongst men is suicide. In regards to that, and actually the suicide rate amongst men is 4 times higher than that amongst women in regards to things. So actually, I'm sorry, it's a bit sobering talk coming in regards to that, but it's just worth pointing out. But one of the things which I'm again quite passionate about is actually talking about how I'm an autistic person as well, and actually the suicide rate amongst autistic people is actually 9 times higher than that of the general population. So
that I didn't know.
Yeah, exactly. And these are the sort of the details which go in, but also as well the really sort of the nuanced part about that is actually as I said, the suicide rate is higher amongst men than women, but in autism it's reversed. The suicide rate is higher amongst women than it is amongst men, which is really weird. Yeah, it's something like so the 9% is sort of an overall term, but it's 14 times higher in autistic women than it is than that of the general population. But yeah, again, you can go down a whole rabbit hole with these things. And I think it stems back to actually the most important thing about mental health is to talk about it. And even if you don't know how to talk about it, just being open to talking about it, or opening to listening, and listening without judgment.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why I feel like, especially with lockdown, it affected a lot of people. And that's why I feel like Instagram and getting back into miniature painting, it definitely helped my depression. And obviously the support of my wife, who recognised it for years before I would admit that there was something wrong with me. Is a big factor of me getting into a hobby and being able to focus on something. And you need that family connection around you. Do you find that painting minis helps you with your mental health to a certain aspect?
Absolutely. Just the mindfulness element of painting a miniature is just so relaxing. You can just sit down and you've got some, even if it's something which isn't the greatest thing in the world, you've got something produced at the end of it. And actually it's just that sort of tactile thing. So I'm painting some stuff at the moment. I'm trying to do some wet blending on some blades, and it's not coming out the best that it is, but actually, I'm doing something which I enjoy. And we're starting a crusade campaign tomorrow at Warhammer World with some of the guys in Nottingham, and we're just going to sit, we're going to chat, we're going to game, and we're just going to hang out and just have a nice chill time, and then curse all the probably laugh at Adam with all the ones he rolls, because his dice rolling is absolutely atrocious. But it's that sort of element of friendly banter and sportsmanship which you get as well with it, which I quite like, because actually that's it's one thing to paint things, but actually with tabletop gaming, it's an inherently social activity, because you've got to sit down. You've got to sit down with people. You've got a set of rules which you've got to abide by. You've got a set of social rules you've got to abide by. And it's just that nice sort of structure to it as well. So if you compare it to, say, video gaming or computer gaming, where you're sat at a console, you may be playing with somebody around the world and swearing at a teenager, or having a teenager swear at you on Call of Duty, it feels less social than sitting down and having a board game with someone.
And what do you prefer doing? Do you prefer painting, or do you prefer the playing?
Oh, I prefer the. I've got to admit, I do prefer the painting of it, but actually, I prefer the paint. I do prefer the painting of it. I think, because actually, with there's a randomness element to the game which you can't control. So bad dice roll, you lose a unit, you're on the back foot already. Painting, it's a bit different in comparison to that. You get an opportunity to go back and redo your mistakes, if that makes sense.
Unless you drop an entire pot of paint all over your brand new kitchen table, which I've done before.
I've done that. I've done that a couple of times. I managed to. We've got laminate floors, and I managed to spill a pot of purple contrast all over the floor, and it just sort of went whoosh as well. So fortunately, the missus was out at the moment, so I managed to clean up most of it. But there was a tiny little speck left, which I hadn't noticed. And she honed in on it about a week later. She's like, "Oh, what earth's that? Is that your paint?" And I said, "No, it's probably a bit of blood from the cat. They'll probably be having a scrap over there. Quickly scrub off the purple."
It's amazing. It's amazing how they can pick up on the tiniest bit. I was trimming something a couple of weeks back, and I dropped just the tiniest bit of sprue on the rug in the kitchen, and I didn't think anything about it. Ping, it's gone. The Hoover will get it. But the next day, it's like, oh, what is this bit of grey on the floor? And you're like, oh.
Yeah, life doesn't become worth living. Well, sorry, that's a bit of a considering I've just been talking about suicide, that's probably not the right thing to say in regard to that. But it's just sometimes they just don't get the hobby, do they?
It's amazing how you just resort back to being a 10-year-old and denying everything.
Yeah.
But I don't know what that is. You know for a fact, and you start getting that cold sweat. You're trying to convince yourself that they're convincing what you're saying, and they're just not buying it at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they know.
Yeah. Yeah.
They know, but we still go for that dance, don't we?
Sorry, Maria. With respect to, you said you're going to Warhammer World. This is the IGH stuff, isn't it? Right.
No, I live in Nottingham. Warhammer World's my local store. So I'm going there to. We're going to be doing a crusade, the crusade format of games, so narrative games.
Yeah.
A bunch of us on there, but we are having we're having another. For those people who don't know, Iron Wolf Hobbies, Johnny, about a year or so ago, set up an account called the International Guild of Hobbyists. And the philosophy behind that is, if you tag us with your artwork on a post, we will share it. We'll put it on the story and we'll share it up on there. And we've done that for he started off with it, and then I asked whether I could help out, and he said yes. And we've just been sharing stuff as we go along, and it's quite nice because actually, again, it's sort of I really like it because actually Johnny's got the same philosophy as I do, that actually it doesn't matter how many followers you've got, it doesn't matter who you are, tag us, we'll share it. Yeah. And actually it's sort of building that community. And we had a meetup of hobbyists about it must have been about a month and a half ago now. The end of March.
Yeah, I think it was about that.
So probably it was nearly 2 months actually. Time's flown by with that. But we had a meetup. We had some games. We had some laughs. Everybody went around lots of people went around the museum tour. Just so you know as well, they've got this massive display in the end room there, which they say there's an assassin hidden in there.
Oh, this is this huge ultramarine battle, isn't it?
Yeah, the big ultramarine battle. Yeah. Turns out the assassin isn't always in there.
Cheeky bastards.
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to say who's told me that, but it's a reliable source. Let's put it that way.
They should actually put like a random farmyard animal, like a sheep or a chicken in there, and see and just don't tell anybody, and just start putting like a transformer in there, a Yoda, and just see what they can get away with, and just gradually build it up.
Yeah. Listen, that would be interesting. I think so. Last year I went to Warhammer Fest in Manchester. I have to say, it was slightly disappointing compared to games days of the past. Yeah. But there was a guy from the Facebook page, Evia Metal.
Yeah.
But he took some knights to it. He took a trio of knights, painted them up, a bit of diorama, but he'd done 1, 2, 3 on them in the Thunderbird lettering. So one of them had a blue shoulder pad with one had a green with 2, and Games Workshop basically said, no, sorry, we're disqualifying that because it's an IP. It's an IP issue. So it's just those funny rules which they have. They were absolutely fantastically painted and sort of converted and themed as sort of a rescue version of Knights, but. yeah, I almost think what we should probably do is actually people should try and get miniatures onto there. When they're going around when they're going around there, to see if they can soft land it onto there and see if people see how long they last there for.
Sneak their own ones on, yeah.
Yeah,
It's something I'd be tempted to try out. And it's actually interesting because I was going to ask how you got involved with the IGH. I'll shorten it down because it's a mouthful otherwise. So it's good that you explained that. And I really enjoy like the Discord. I'm not the biggest person on Discord. Like it's just, to me, it's another platform. And I'm starting to think, how many do I need? But it is good to go on there and have a look at what people are doing, what you're all chatting around. And I have to say, especially with respect to Iron Wolf Johnny, like for me, what is really striking is the Middle-earth strategy battle game little sub topic. That's going the clappers. Like I looked at it just once just to see what was going on and how big a deal it was, and it's flying. And just there's so many different little groups in there. Everyone's chatting different stuff. Constantly people from all over the world as well. Again, it's just another sort of way of bridging a community gap, isn't it? And it's like you said, you don't care. You got 20,000 followers. You got 2 followers. Everyone's the same. We're all on our own little journey.
Yeah, exactly. And the ego's left at the door. We're all doing we're all hobbyists. We're all doing the same thing. That's a really nice thing about it. And actually, I think Johnny's really hit the nail on the head there.
And that's the thing.
The comments. Sorry.
To chat. I'm catching up as well as we go.
And I think just touching on what Dibs has said in there, there is quite a lot of negativity in the community as well. I mean, you don't have to go onto certain platforms as well and say female custodies, and it will just blow up the conversation, it's kind of a shame. But I also question actually whether those people who sort of make those comments actually do play the game in the first place, or whether they're simply seeking an audience.
Well, I would say that I've had a few heated discussions with some people on my own personal page about female custodies and all that sort of stuff. And if somebody wants to paint paint any of their army as a female, non-binary, rainbow warrior, Zulu warrior, or fucking Ming dynasty, do what you want to do. At the end of the day, it's not going to affect anybody. If you rock up and you start naming, if I started naming my death guard, Samantha, Janice, how is that going to change anything? Do you know what I mean? In relation to the game, it's not. Janice, the death guard.
Janice,
she's forward runner here. Yeah.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think there's probably some limitations in regards to that. I mean, I think I've seen there was tales in the past of people turning up to tournaments with SS symbols painted on their miniatures, and I think that's a line. But in regards to actually, I'm still wanting to do a female Astartes army for my goddaughter, because her bloody dad was the one who got me into Warhammer in the first place.
So passing it forward, paying it forward.
Yeah, exactly. Pay it forward and make sure that get her just not enough for full army, so he's got to buy the rest of it.
Yeah. And I think, just sort of saying, as Dibs is saying, and as Celestial Line is saying, how much of it is just people stirring stuff up, how many people are just being negative. And I am interested in seeing his Ziggy Stardust Marine, so I'll go look at that later.
I'm going to take a look at it as well. But yeah, I think I'm in it for the miniatures and in it for the painting, and that's what I really like about and actually I was finding actually that following the big accounts was having a bit of a negative impact on my on my mental health. So I didn't follow them.
Yeah.
because it's that sort of when Leviathan came out last year, there was that sort of, how shall I put it? There was a level of hypocrisy which is going around, because a lot of people had received their box of Leviathan from Games Workshop, and they've been promoting it for weeks and weeks, and then on the day I saw about 4 or 5 of them putting up, and here's our affiliate link to a third-party company where we can get some money from you by clicking on our link. And I just thought to myself, nah, I'm not. That's not.
Yeah.
That's using your popularity for own personal gain. And oh right, so yeah, sorry, James. I'll find you after the chat and have a bit of a chat. You're more than welcome to come down and have a game at some point. We're starting off sort of a small 500 crusade army. I'm taking Necrons. We've got some people taking Space Marines. We're going to put up some more posts about them, I think, as we sort of go along the journey of it. But yeah, feel free to come. Yeah, Celestial Lion says he's ditched the. He's ditched being accountable. Yes, yeah, I hear what you're saying, Celestial Line. I think it's and I think the thing is that because I've lived in Nottingham for about the better part of 20 years now, it is just going to it's
Another shop in it.
It's just another day that ends in a Y, which well, it's we've got another IGH meetup in a couple of we've got another IGH meetup in a couple of in about a month or so's time.
Yeah.
And I've managed to so as one of the charity projects I did, we did a battle against some knights, some titans, and I've managed to convince one of the Titans owners to bring a Warlord Titan down, which we're going to have 7 of us facing off against it with 500 points worth of stuff each. So yeah, we're going to be I suspect we're going to die very quickly, but it should be a good laugh.
Yeah, I think, I'll be honest, like, I've been once.
Yeah.
And like, I always remember seeing it in the White Dwarfs and stuff when I was younger, and into it when I was younger, and it was like, oh my god, this place looks amazing.
Yeah.
It's like a place of pilgrimage, isn't it? And
hobby Mecca, as people called it.
And the time I went, my lad was tiny, and my missus, we'd gone up to like a family holiday in Harrogate, like a weekend away. My missus took our baby at the time, he was a baby, back up to Sunderland with all of her family, and I was driving home on my own. And as I'm on the M1, I'm thinking, driving past Nottingham, I might as well go in there. And also, 50 quid lighter out of my pocket for the privilege of going in there, because it's just one of those things. I'm here, I might as well buy something.
Yeah.
But
that's the thing is about Nottingham as well. Now we've now got they actually have 2 Warhammer stores. They've got one in the city centre and Warhammer World, but just round the corner from the Warhammer one in the city centre is an Element Games, which has everything for like 15% off the retail price.
Sorry about that, folks. She didn't know the Netflix details. I didn't put it into the TV for her.
So I think now's a good time if we broach the charity work and charity stuff that we've been doing. Because that's what, I'll be honest, was one of the things that caught my eye to your account, is just, how much work you do in arranging people to help out with stuff, getting armies together, people involved in it, and you really reach out to anyone and everyone who wants to just get involved, rather than, again, like we've been saying all day, like, rather than just going to the big boys and saying, help me out, you're going to anyone who wants to be involved and saying, fancy this, which I think is amazing. And the amount of money that you've raised along the way is
we've
astounding.
I'm really proud about the money, because I've just here's the humble brag moment, just hit over £5,000 of charity fundraising since the first raffle last year, which was actually the first raffle brought in about just under 1,400 quid. And I thought, yeah, that's pretty good. That's a good benchmark to do. Then I thought to myself, well, actually, you know, how can the hobby be used to do charitable work? And actually, you know, so I thought to myself, well, actually, a night army is something you know, which people might not have. But so I went out and I bought it, and I thought to myself, right, that's, you know, okay, that's 400 quid spent to get that. You know, it's a fair bit of work, but actually I thought to myself, well, okay, if I go out and promote it, how much can we get back? And raise 2,250 quid with it for going directly to Cancer Research UK, and it was yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, sorry about that, Paul. I know you've won sod all, but there was the most recent one. Somebody we did a you know, buy 10 tickets get 5 free, and this guy by the end of it had 105 tickets. And he didn't win anything. So, which I'm slightly glad about, because he was living in, you know, I contacted him via Facebook, and he was living in the Middle East, so the shipping on that would have been atrocious. But again, you know, it's one of the things which is really nice, because actually, we did the night as sort of a you know, I thought to myself, well, actually, let's get hobbyists down together, and to you know, to sit together and actually to paint it and see how much we can do in a weekend. And we got most of it done. You know, we did some of the panels before, and we did some of the panels afterwards and whatnot. But it was really nice just to have everybody together, round tables, and then doing stuff. And also as well, the you know, a big shout out to the Sheffield Outpost, because they gave us a night for free to paint. So we had that as a second place prize, and that was that was really nice. And then, you know, I was talking with Leah, Hobby Bean 17. She was also autistic as well, and she was telling me about the charity which she went to for support when she was a bit younger. And I said, yeah, that sounds absolutely great. I'd love to do something with you. What should we do? Well, we in the end we've still got some of them here, because we haven't been able to. We got more than we intended. But she painted this absolutely amazing. I'm trying to remember what it's called.
Lizard man thing.
Yeah, but you know, we've managed to basically get enough that we're probably going to be able to enough spare miniatures. We're probably going to be able to do it again next year without having to buy anything. The thing is actually what we are going to be doing as well, because I've managed to bend Johnny's arm in regards to it a little bit, but we're going to be doing a we took a look at and you've posted it up on the the Welcome to the Inquisition. That was the one that he painted, the Silver Space Marine. But we painted these. We've come up with a really easy to do paint scheme, which is basically you prime it in silver, you do the shoulder pads in gold, you give it a black wash, and it's pretty much, then you can just sort of work up the detail from there. But it's going to be a really easy colour scheme for people to do, and we're hoping to sort of. You know, we've got some people interested in doing it all across the world actually already. We're sort of in a pre-launch stage, but there's a group of people in Dresden in Germany who contributed to the first one. They're going to paint an army, and we're going to try and paint another army. But we've also come up with sort of 7 lists worth of from the Space Marine Codex, from the different detachments. And you know, the whole principle of it is actually how many people have 10 Space Marines sat on a sprue somewhere. And actually, if you can, you know, paint them quickly, get them painted up, and donate them in, and then we'll run we're hoping to run a raffle for about 3 months or so next year. So it's got a longer time to generate funds and then divide it between the sort of nominated charities in that regard. So if there's there's a couple of people here on the in the chat who donated things in there. Celestial Lions painted some for me in the past. The Baron, he's done some lizard men. Tiz has done two, some lizard men as well. But again, it's been really nice to get. Yes, yeah, I thought, yeah, well, that was the thing. They came over and they went to Nottingham Cave system, which is where everybody hid in the war. But I didn't tell them that. going into what Celestial Lions just said in there, but it's nice because actually they were, they're hobbyists. They're sorry, my cat has a perfectly usable cat flap, but what he's doing at the moment is he always does. I'm going to just flip my phone around. He's just sat on the steps. If I don't let him in, he's just going to be a complete cock. So
Cats are cats.
That's cats for you, yeah. But again, I met them on Monday at Warhammer World. Had a chat to them for about an hour or so, and they're just hobbyists, absolutely lovely. But we're going to be sort of doing that possibly as a bit of a slow burn project because actually, sort of probably launch it about maybe March next year. So if anybody's got any spare Space Marines which I'd like to paint, you don't even need to base them. Because we're going to do my plan is basically hopefully to one day get everybody to bring them out to Warhammer World or what have you. They're open long days on Fridays, so actually people can sort of turn up. Then the next day, because I know people with Titans, get them to bring their Titans down to have a massive mega game. And then the next day take some photos and launch the raffle, and then hopefully, do it along the if you do it along the lines of people's paydays, people think, well, actually, I've got a few more quid in my pocket. I'll put, I can try and win a few more tickets from there. And actually, the slightly pain in the arse thing is that the hosting site raffle takes 15% of the cut. It was 10% up until April, but they take 15% of it now. So for every grand you raise, they basically take 150 quid of it.
Yeah.
Which is, I can understand that because they've got a business to run and whatnot, but it's all going into that phrase. You can kill. Yeah, the cat is reminding you who the boss is. Yeah, he is the boss completely. He's always been the boss. He's got a poorly tail at the moment, so we're having to be even more sympathetic to him. We're hoping to make that sort of hopefully a really successful one, and then we still, had a plan for an even potentially sort of bigger prize than that as well. But again, it's just all these things take a little bit of time and logistics, and it's nice to sort of work with people and sort of think and sort of being able to update people on actually this is how much money is coming today. This is how much money we're on at the moment. Can we push to get to this target?
Yeah.
And actually, with the autism raffle, which we did, we managed to raise 1,570 quid after the 15% was taken. We sold about over 1,800 quid's worth of tickets, but that 1,500 quid is enough to support a autistic teenager for a full year within the charity. So I think that's a really nice achievement, and especially for Leah because she's obviously been through the process herself there as well. And I think that's just really nice. And I think hopefully, I'm trying to remember what I was going to say there. Hopefully we can just continue that. But actually, I wouldn't have been able to do this without other people saying, yeah, I'll paint that for you, or yeah, I'll buy that and I'll paint that and I'll send it to you, and just having that trust that actually, because I'm a complete randomer. Nobody, this is all through the internet. This is all through stuff, and people have actually put that trust in, put that trust in us, and actually we've been able to go and raise a nice whack of money for charity, and that's all. That's always the thing which is sort of motivating me in regards to that. Of actually, we've raised that much. Can we raise a little bit more?
Yeah.
Can we, can we persuade another person to win that? And we've been trying to mainly promote it through Instagram, but actually, this most recent one, all the winners, they clicked on the link through Discord or Facebook or other Facebook groups which I just put the link into, and that was
yeah.
I'm just going to jump in here and ask you a couple of questions about yourself. And I just want to say, first of all, the only reason that Dresden and Coventry are actually twinned together is because both sets of residents have exclusively webbed feet, and that's the only reason. Not as in World War II, it's webbed feet, webbed hands. So the question I was going to ask you, you said that you've got a partner who's very understanding. At what point did they know that you were into plastic crack, or was it just something you subtly grew into them?
From pretty much from day one, because she had a teenage son when I met her, and I picked up quite quickly that he was into Warhammer, and I took him to Warhammer World, and sort of from there. But I wasn't doing much of the hobby, but it's now sort of it's infiltrated the back room. Have you noticed that I've decided my cat's decided to join us on the other side? I thought I might add to the.
That cat is more of an inquisitor than me and Casey are.
Oh,
definitely.
Judgment.
Yeah.
It's just the judgment on it.
Yeah, he's got a complete judgment. I'm just gonna. I know this is about Inquisition, but I'm just going to. He's got the most judgmental face in the world.
We're not laughing at you, cat, but we are.
He's 10 years old now, and he's just turning into an even more. He was a grumpy old man about 5 years ago, but now he's just. Oh no, Celestial Lad. Does that mean you're from Norfolk then? Because that's right.
Norfolk.
My family's from Norfolk, and I can proudly say that I'm the first person not to be born in the family within about 250 feet of farmland. But yeah, what was the question again?
Does your good lady, does she dabble in the dark arts of
well, I managed to get him to do some board games and whatnot, and I think I'll do that. But the thing is that because she rides horses, she's also got an expensive hobby. So I can get away with it in regards to what I spend, because actually she can say, well, how much did that cost? I said, how much did your horseshoes cost this month?
What's that? You got a new saddle for $2,000? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You have to have those shoes on your horse replaced every 5 weeks for about 90 quid. Yeah, I don't spend that much on it in a month.
See, that's where we've gone wrong, Dom. We just need misses with expensive hobbies. That's it.
Exactly. That's the thing. You just need to, more finances. But but I think the one thing she's just said, well, why is it all out? And said, well, actually, you've got a stable where you store all your stuff. Where am I supposed to put all of mine? I will point out to her, at least I don't bring straw back into the house.
And she's that no, but you've got wee bits of plastic and heads everywhere that have been pinging off.
Yeah. Something along those lines. But she will. She will. What was I going to say? Yes, she'll complain about it every now and then, but I'll sometimes gently push back and say, well, actually, look, at least I'm not going to, however, she had a horse riding accident a few years ago, where she damaged her knee, but she's how should I put it? She's now very well insured. So if in a few months, if you point her turn up to an event with a legion of Titans,
Right, guys. I'm going to have to restart this because I'm now getting the countdown. I'm at 16 seconds here, so
oh, okay,
I don't really know why I'm getting a countdown. Maybe Instagram just doesn't like me. So I'll
yeah, yeah,
kick
yeah,
back with part two, and
cool.
then we'll see you
Part two it.
all in about 2 minutes. Just
Yeah, cool.
folks.
See you in a minute.
So we're back with part two, with Inquisition with Dave Hammer 40k. Hopefully we can get everybody back on. All right, Paul. Thanks for joining back, mate. So yeah, how you all? As if anybody's got any questions for Dave, then throw them in the chat, and we can fire them to Dave when he's when he's ready to answer questions. Accept. Right, I've accepted your. You're unable to join. I'm just unable to join. And oh, definitely you start doing that. Paul, 100% we do.
Yeah,
I don't understand why Instagram hates me so
I,
much.
I,
They put no
I
limit.
don't understand Instagram at all. It just doesn't make any sense sometimes. It's like sometimes you'll get, you'll paint, you'll put something up and you'll get 30 likes for it. And then sometimes you'll put something up completely random and you'll get, you'll get 150. And it's just the algorithm doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
It's not nothing to do with my internet, you fucking yank, fucking bastard.
You got to stop running your internet for potatoes. That's what it is.
I will say something about Sam. I did a stream. I was on a stream with Ryan and Graham, and then Sam came in, and Sam was going on about his about his internet connection being absolutely fantastic. It was amazing. It was amazingly speed and whatnot, and then he just froze. And he was froze sort of mid-sentence with a really funny. I'll send you the picture because it's hilarious. Because we just got a screenshot of it. So every time Sam comes on and talks about his internet connection, there is that just a little reminder in the back of my head of the time he just completely froze. David, issues. Oh yeah, so basically with that, Paul, I think it was with Reels, because Reels don't let you do. They trim your video, whereas actually if you just record yourself, you can put up a longer one. And also they now have a caption facility on it. So actually, not everybody wants to listen to. I hate listening to sound my own voice on playbacks. It just doesn't. It doesn't sound like me to me, if that makes sense.
That's
when
right.
I hear it. Yeah. So I put the captions on so actually people can watch that if they want to, and it's still got the same information. It will probably have a lot of ums and ahs because I always and ah. But I just wanted to, with those videos, I just wanted to do something which actually might just, might potentially help.
I must say though, right, Dave, like, see when you're doing your mental health and your mental health videos and you're doing it in your car, this could potentially ruin the rest of the Inquisition here, right? But it did look as though you were getting ready to do some dogging sitting in your car. I was just waiting for like some penises to start coming in from the different windows.
That's it. You're gonna be thinking about that now. Next time you're sitting in your car thinking of filming a video, you're gonna be checking your sides, looking in your mirrors, just making sure no random bloke in a trench coat fiddling himself.
I'm doing that. I'm tagging Dunk in the video.
Just some random dodgy looking old men with like 4-pack of special brew.
Because the one on Friday, I took my friend to the pharmacy because she came up for board gaming, but wasn't very well. And I thought to myself, while she's in the pharmacy, I'll do a quick video. But then I realised I'm in the centre of Stapleford, and there's loads of people walking by behind the car. So I'll just have to sort of power through and get as much information in as I can in that. But there was.
just before I do my dogging session, a quick mental health update
Yeah,
from
quick
Dave
mental
Hammer
health.
40k.
Yeah, something along those lines. Something along those lines.
So
But
we've got to
yeah,
the part of the Inquisition. We like to ask like the random questions that everybody really
oh,
just watches the
go for
Inquisition
it.
for. So, what
Yeah.
is your favourite flavour of crisps?
Oh, favorite crisps. Now, uh, Aldi do this. I think it's like a bourbon barbecue flavored
Ooh,
crinkle crisp, and it's just really really nice. Found them about Christmas last year, uh, and yeah, that's what I pick for that. But going standardly, I'd probably just go for if I couldn't find those, probably go for a barbecue Pringle.
solid choice. Solid choice. Barbecue stuff's always great, but Dunk's
Yeah.
just always been a bit upset that they don't have barbecue walkers anymore.
Oh,
They
yeah.
were them and cheese moments from Smiths.
Oh,
Yeah.
what I do like is the speaking of Walkers is the Peking five spice cracker from the Sensations range.
I'll have to look that up.
They are they're really nice because they do the poppadom ones, but there's a five spice one, which is sort of like a similar sort of. It's almost like part prawn cracker.
Ooh,
Uh, in my, but if you go for a sensation one, I go for those are. You just reminded me of those. Those are quite nice. I might actually have to. While the partner's away, I might have to go out and get some of those.
So as a follow-up to
uh,
that, the follow-up to your crisp,
yeah.
as you're sitting on your couch, you're munching away on your fancy Aldi crisps. What are you washing it down with? You going for a Coke? You going for a Pepsi? Or you going for something else?
Well, honestly, it is a bit like it's one of the things which I've tried to cut out my diet is alcohol.
Hmm.
Um, because it does, I think the thing is I might mention this in some of the videos, but it does have an impact on mental health and mood because how it works is as a central nervous system depressant is that it basically amplifies the emotions you're experiencing. So I do try
Yeah.
to keep away from alcohol. But also as well, my blood pressure is fairly high, so I'm having to keep away from caffeinated drinks as well. So that ensues. So I'm kind of uh, I'll usually go for a lime and lemonade, just for a nice sort of
Yeah.
refreshing drink. But actually, lime and soda also works quite well as well. It's got a nice sort of tang to it and less sugar as well because
Yeah.
I'm overweight. I need to lose. I need to maintain my health. So that's what I'm going for at the moment. But previously, um, if I'm going to go out and have a bit of have a bit of a drink with friends, I'll usually go for. I usually quite like Southern Comfort and lemonade if I'm going for a spirits, or if I'm going for an alcoholic drink. I was a big real ale drinker. I really do quite like real ales. Actually, Nottingham's got a fantastic beer festival.
Yeah.
If you ever get to come to it, but yeah, I do drink. I also, as well, unfortunately, I do. And this is probably which has affected the blood pressure more. I do drink a lot of black coffee as
Yeah.
well. I think possibly the problem is having two strong cups of that every day since I was 19 probably hasn't done it any good.
No, and that's
Must
it.
say,
That's a habit.
I
Yeah,
was having
it
I
is.
was having a wee refreshing fizzy lemonade there at the weekend, and I decided when I was in Aldi, I could have an off drink for about
Yeah,
a year just to get my head sorted, and I needed that
yeah.
break with lockdown and all that.
Mm.
That I wanted some Bishop's fingers inside me.
Oh yes,
So I got
yeah.
five Bishop's fingers, and I must say, I do like a good Bishop's finger inside me.
Yeah. I know it's a Catholic country, yeah, but draw the line.
Oh no,
um,
that's a nice red ale. That's nice. That
yeah. Aldi do. Speaking of Aldi, they do a nice canned lemonade if you can uh, get a hold of it. So they come in about a 6-pack of it. They're quite like they're actually for lemonades. they're actually quite quite decent. But anyway, just got off on a bit of a tangent there from that. But yeah, it's yeah. I do have to say, I always used to shop at Tesco's, but ever since Aldi sort of really sort of cropped up everywhere, I just think it's better quality stuff. Often a bit of a from there, and also it's a bit cheaper as well.
It's helped a bit
So,
at the moment.
yeah, more money to spend on miniatures.
So you've had your wee crisp and a wee drink in the Saturday night, and you wake up. You know what, Miss Hammer 40K. We're going to go to the local Greasy Spoon and have a wee cheeky fry up. But you've decided that you're going to ask for something to be taken out of the fry. What would be the one thing that you take out the fry that you don't miss?
Eggs. Eggs. Yeah, cannot. It's a sensory thing. I can't. The texture of it, I just can't. The texture of eggs is just weird. Fried eggs, especially. I just. I know everything is greasy on a fried breakfast, but actually, that's just too greasy. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Right. I actually have to say I prefer scrambled egg to a fried egg.
Yeah.
I can understand the texture is still there's still an issue, but it just feels a little bit healthier in a way. I don't know. I mean, I cook it with butter, so it's probably not that healthy, but
it's probably because of the milk which is mixed into it. That makes it feel a bit healthier.
You put milk in your scrambled egg?
I don't. Some people do. My mum used to, and it was weird. I don't.
That makes it too runny. What you do is you throw in some butter, right, just before it's still melted. Throw in your eggs and then just incorporate them in. Incorporate them. Keep stirring, and then once it gets nice and velvety, and you throw in a wee bit more butter, a wee bit of pepper, a wee bit of salt. Boom, bon appetit. On the heat, off the heat. There we go. You don't need milk. That's fucking for French toast.
See, right now you're sounding like you used to after your Friday night. You'd stick the telly on a Saturday morning, and you'd be watching Saturday Morning Kitchen when they're trying to make the omelette. That's exactly what you described it.
The missus has always put she's always put milk into the scrambled eggs, so I've sort of just gone with it from there, really.
Yeah, my mum does it, and I grew up with it. And then when I was struck out on my own, I was like, I don't have to put milk in it anymore. Oh, it's a taste sensation, but that's me. So the other sort of go on, buddy. No, I tell you what, I'm jumping in. Right. The other thing that we like to sort of get under the skin of you is obviously, look, we've all got to be in common.
Yeah.
What else makes you tick? What are we going with? We're going films, gaming, other stuff, other interests. Let's go for it.
Other interests. So I'm a massive sci-fi nerd. I've always have been. I think being autistic has meant that actually, when it's come to interests, it's those categories. So actually, I've got how should I put it without sounding like a twat? I've got an encyclopedic knowledge of most sci-fi series and of most sci-fi series, and I'm really I don't know if I can say this on here, but I'm really looking forward to what you guys are going to be doing with the quiz.
But I think we've not mentioned it really to anyone. But if Dunk wants to go ahead,
yeah. So what we're going to do is come up with it. I steal my ideas from everybody. You know what I mean? Like, I stole my son's name from George Lucas. Do you know what I mean? I used to watch a thing on YouTube called Movie Trivia Schmodown, and there was a bunch of guys in America that I think they worked within the industry, and they all started doing this quiz show, and they had like storylines and hail. So what I've done is I've reached out to a few people, and Dave and Paint Party Scott have both said that they're going to come on and do a trivia 40k Citadel / Horus Heresy trivia. See who's the best at trivia. We've just to start writing the questions and to get a date that all four of us can probably do it on. So I'm thinking initially a Sunday, because we usually do one show on a Sunday, and I think over maybe June or July that maybe doing it on the Sunday would probably be better for everybody.
Yeah.
You know,
Uh,
that sounds good to me, because I'm going to. I'm well up for that, because I'm going to. Ryan being a doctor, I'm fighting for the pride of my profession here.
yeah. Doctors versus nurses, the trivia
Yeah,
edition, the
absolutely.
non-sexy edition. So yeah, and I think if we get enough interest from everybody who watches, we could maybe run a league or something and do like a stupid trophy or something, or a knockout system, and kind of build up to like Christmas or something. But it's just the kind of idea that me and Katie have come up with the last wee while.
One of the things I do love doing is reading. I'm a prodigious reader. I moved over to a Kindle about 12 years ago, and just because the amount of books I was buying, there's not enough space for it. So I love to read. Just being able to just have that bit of escapism. Films also, really into films. Before the pandemic, had a Cineworld card, so I was going there regularly. That's the one thing which I do miss about pre-pandemic world, not being able to go to the cinema as much, because we weren't using it, so we gave it up. But I had that Cineworld card since I first qualified back in 2009. So we went to try to go to movies at least twice a week, because actually you're spending and even if you go and see a bad movie, you've still gone and seen something actually, and then you sort of put it into the stuff. What other things am I passionate about? I know it sounds a bit try-hard, but I am passionate about mental health as well, and actually, talking to people about mental health. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that Planet of the Apes movie, Paul, because actually the last three with Andy Serkis as Caesar were absolutely fantastic. That motion capture element, and also as well the cast, the supporting cast in that as well. The first movie was James Franco. The second movie was Gary Oldman. The last one was
Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson. Yeah, that's the one. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they sort of do with the franchise, sort of post that. But also as well, I'm a massive classic nerd. I love Star Trek, love Star Wars. Those are my sort of go to and rewatch and relax, because I know what's happening, and it's just like comfortable old shoes to watch. Yeah, caught up for those by Disney Plus solid trilogy. Yeah, it's an absolutely solid trilogy.
I'm just going to jump in here about the science fiction thing. I just did a rewatch of the re-image Battlestar Galactica.
I love that.
I'm going to start that soon. It's going on Prime, so I'm going to start doing that again. Did you enjoy that, Dave?
I cannot get my missus to watch it though. I've got to watch pretty much everything. Which I've watched, but she won't watch it because she remembers the original Battlestar Galactica, and in the original Battlestar Galactica, Starbuck wasn't a woman.
Yeah, that was a big controversy, and they're doing another Battlestar Galactica now as well, which will be interesting to see. But I absolutely loved because it's a totally different story from the original Battlestar Galactica. Because if people don't know, in the original Battlestar Galactica, the Cylons were a race that wiped out another race, but the humans sided on this other race to help them, and this other race were wiped out, and then the Cylons then attacked the humans because they were dicks. But with the re-image series, it was the humans made the Cylons, and the Cylons rebelled. And I thought that was brilliant, because at the time it was doing a lot of it kind of addressed a lot of issues that were going on in Afghanistan and Iraq with suicide bombers, and it was going on about abortion and politics and that. It was a really, really good show.
It was a fantastic show, and actually as well, it kind of moved away from the your episodic sort of sci-fi series in regards to it. It was very much sort of ahead of its time.
Yeah. And you forgot at points as well that it was set in space.
Yeah.
because even though it wasn't too spacey. There was obviously space battles, but for a
Yeah.
lot of it was the internal dealings with,
Yes.
especially when,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially like kind of when a wee bit of a spoiler, the humans caught up with the Cylons caught up with the humans, and then the humans started helping the Cylons, and it was like the fallout of like kind of what happened at the end of the Second World War, where like the Dutch would shoot all the men that helped the Germans when the Netherlands were liberated, and what do you do with those people that helped the enemy sort of
Yeah.
thing?
The
It was very,
collaborators.
very
Yeah.
good.
Wasn't there
Yeah.
also, like, just to sort of help with that, I'm jogging my memory on this, but wasn't when they were like, they had all the different like battleships, all the
Yeah.
different civilian ships, and wasn't one of them basically just like a flying garden or something?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and even that just takes away from it. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, we're doing a sci-fi thing, but I tell you what, let's go film in the park.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can just make
Yeah. Yeah.
a
That
ship
was
with a garden on
that.
it.
Well, the interesting thing was is that going back to Star Trek Voyager.
Lost Voyager. That's one.
Yeah. So
Seven of Nine
Voyager.
helped me through some nights.
I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of Deep Space Nine. So yeah, but Voyager was the showrunner for Battlestar Galactica was one of the
Yep.
showrunners for Voyager.
Roger D. Moore.
Ronald D. Moore. But the
Yep.
thing Ronald D. Moore disliked about Voyager is that it would reset at the end of every episode. So they'd be back on a pristine ship, even though they were lost in the far flung reaches of the galaxy. Whereas actually with Battlestar Galactica, he was able to wreck the ship periodically, just wreck the ship more and more periodically. So I think there's one point where I think it's at the end of the third season of Battlestar Galactica, where one of the big guns on the top of the ship is, it's blown up, and then for the rest of the series, it's only firing three of the cannons out of the four because the other one's been wrecked. So it's actually kept on with that. And there was another episode where I think they have to do a load of jumps through a really hazardous nebula, and actually it's starting to wreck the outside of the ship. And after then, they updated the models, the CGI model, so it was more and more wrecked. So that was a really nice thing about it. But also, Ronald D. Moore has done some fantastic science fiction over the years. I mean, he wrote. He was on The Next Generation as one of the writers. I think he wrote part of The Best of Both Worlds, the one where Picard gets assimilated by the Borg. But then he's also done, he's been through Star Trek throughout. He's done the reimagined Battlestar Galactica series, Outlander. I don't know if you've ever come across that.
Yeah, that's a great show.
I watched it.
Yeah. But he was the showrunner for that. Again, it's it's time travel in Scotland, but then also as well, he's doing a series on Apple TV called For All Mankind, which is which is an alternate history if the Russians landed on the moon first, and what history would be like, what the space race would have been like from then. And it's just a great series. That it's been running for about 5 series, and they sort of advance it 10 years every series. So they had the 4th series. They started the first series in the 60s, 70s. Then they moved the second series. They moved into the 80s, where they had a moon base and stuff like that. The third series in the 90s, so they went to Mars to the soundtrack of Nirvana. And then the 4th series is basically they've got a Martian, they've got a Mars base and sort of stuff from there. So it's really, and it's sort of kind of based around alternate history. But at the start of each series, they kind of sort of say, well, actually, these are they do like a newsreel of what events happened, and sometimes it'll be a different event. So for example, in the second series, they say that the assassination of John Lennon was prevented. So then, in the next series, in the newsreel, the Beatles had a reunion. But there's also these sort of little Easter eggs that England won the 1986 World Cup because Maradona got sent off for the hand of God.
they had to shoehorn that in.
Yeah,
I mean,
but also, but here was an interesting thing as well. One of the interesting things was actually the Reaganomics era didn't happen because Reagan didn't get elected, and the IRA attempted assassination of Thatcher actually worked.
you know what?
All those
That sounds absolutely cool. I'll have to give that a look because I'm like, I love alternative history things, like even down to what
so good.
the Superman series Red Sun, if he landed in Russia instead of America.
Yeah. That's
amazing.
That is an amazing comic book. Comic.
Watchmen as well.
Yeah,
Watchmen. That sort of alternative stuff. And then even there was something, Man in the High Castle. I didn't watch the series, but reading the book, just what if Japan and America Japan invaded America. Just stuff like that. It's always like, I love history and just thinking of, well, what if X didn't happen? What if Y happened? And stuff like that. It's always blows my mind. And the fact that
I think you'd love For All Mankind. It's really it's really interesting because actually they they try and base it off sort of the technology at the era, and actually if they decided to say for example they built an improved space shuttle using a nuclear engine, what would that be like, and that sort of that sort of stuff, and all the things which people had designed and planned to do, but then because there was no point in going to the moon, which now 50 years later on they've decided suddenly we're going to go back to, it's cropping up. But that's that was one of the really interesting things, because actually I was talking to a partner about this, and then obviously there was a couple of things trying to land on the moon, and she was saying, well, we've been to the moon, why can't we go there anymore? And I was like, well, because we haven't built the technology for it in 50 years, so nobody knows. Technology advanced so much in 50 years, and actually quite a lot of the landings on the moon was done was basically eyeballed. They were watching to see when to fire the rockets and to do that. Whereas actually now, with all the automated stuff, they're doing it on a time delay. So that's why everything's crashing into the moon, because they're doing it on a time delay, because they can't get the information back soon enough for them to send enough message to fire the rockets and whatnot. But again, it's just sort of gone off on a bit of a tangent, but I do kind of like that alternative.
We love it.
Alternative history stuff, because
did you see the TV show C with Jason Momoa? What his name?
I watched the first. I think I watched the first 3 or 4 episodes of that, but I couldn't. I don't know why I couldn't quite get into it.
It's a great show. It's so bloodthirsty. That's one of my favourite shows. I've actually started it for the second time, and I'm going to rewatch it. So for people that don't know, see it as a dystopian future where everybody's blind.
Yeah.
Apart from a few people, and they're hunted down. And this guy gets this lassie pregnant, and it turns out she's got children that can see. But the battles are really bloody because it's all to do with touch and smelling people, and how there's a really good part where they're walking through and they get ambushed, but they can see where they are. The people can see where they are, but obviously they can hear better than all their other senses are heightened because it's Hollywood, and they just get absolutely decimated. It's really it's a brilliant show. Like
that's on Apple TV as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Or IPTV, like I have.
Yeah. The Godzilla series, Monarch, that's quite good as well. If you can get into that, because it sort of ties into the movies, but it's got Kurt Russell and his son Wyatt Russell playing the same character, just in different time eras, so they can jump between the 50s and the 50s and the noughties.
Okay, so that. Yeah. So I just want to ask you. I just want to jump back into the hobby for the last few minutes, because as everybody knows, I like watching trash TV, and Fortune Hotel starts in about 5-10 minutes, and my wife's away to get my son for work, and I love trash TV. So you've always been in the hobby since like first, second edition. See, compared to now, how would you rate the paints from then to now? And is there any paints that you would like Warhammer to maybe do again? I'm relatively new. I used to paint Hero Quest and Space Crusade and Battle Masters. There we go, folks. So, and then I was always a big Star Wars fan, and I only get into Warhammer recently, like the painting wise and all that sort of stuff.
Mm.
So I had experience with the paints back in the day. But how would you rate them now, and the brushes that we have now compared to back then?
Well, that is the question, isn't it? Because to be fair, when I first started, they didn't have washers. They
No.
just had ink. So you would have to use inks, and there were no guides. There were no people like Duncan or Rhodey or even YouTube videos of people painting to do that. So I think it would be interesting to see, to compare, because it's a different media of painting really as well, because they brought out some proto washes like Devlin Mud and sort of proto base paints called foundation paints back in about 2009 2010, and they really changed how I painted. I think I have to say I absolutely love contrast paint. I think that is a genius. Whoever thought of contrast paint is an absolute genius. Just so much vividity of colour that you can get with it, with not very much. With, how should I put it? I'm a lazy painter. Contrast paint is just amazing. I painted this in about 2 hours, from base coat to that. I mean, it's not very particularly detailed or whatnot, but this is that's the colour scheme of the time that I had back in 4th edition, and to do that colour scheme back in 4th edition, I only had black primer to go over. That I've used a combination of a brown primer and bone primer, and the colours have just come out so vivid with it. And that was because oh, sorry.
So do you still use just Citadel, or have you started dabbling in other brands now?
I do dabble in other paints. Not as much as I probably should do, but I quite like Army paint, and I do think actually what Games Workshop are missing a trick on is using is putting paint in dropper bottles. But I understand why they do it, because actually you sell more, and Games Workshop ultimately are a business. I completely agree with what Celestial Line's saying. Lazy painting is the best way. Completely is, because actually, my neck ones, which are just here on the side here, are completely lazy.
Oh, we've just he's
I think he's done this.
he's killed himself off,
I wouldn't say it's lazy painting. I would say it's an evolution of painting, because it's everything evolves, isn't it? Really, it's like we used to use those smelly paints back in the day, where we would get high in our bedrooms and our parents thought we were sniffing glue, and we're really just trying to paint.
I still do sniff a bit of glue,
Yeah, well, that's because you're from Penge, whatever that is.
That's fat thumbs for you. That's fat thumbs for you.
I mean, I see, like, because then I remember watching the painting phase, and they had the guy on who worked for Games Workshop at the time, and he said that he was in the concept. They had just started that concept, and then as soon as the contrast paints come out, you've seen Army coming out with speed paints, and all these other companies that just went, fucking hell, man, that is a great idea. It's not wasted painting; it's evolving. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Duncan Rhodes' range of paints, tooth and coats, are really good, actually. And I think because Games Workshop changed some of the formulas of the paints, he's got the old formulas for them. So his Agrax Earthshade is actually like his Agrax Earthshade equivalent is the old Agrax Earthshade, and that's that's really good, because actually you want to keep, you know, when you're painting stuff, you want to keep it consistent over the edition. So I'll show you an example of what I mean. So this Terminator, I painted about about 2 months ago, and it was using the Agrex Earthshade for the recess shades, plus some skeleton horde over the top of it. But this suppressor I painted back when the old Agrex Earthshade was the same, and it's the same sort of colour. But if you look at the new Agrex Earthshade from Games Workshop, it's a different preparation. So yeah, on Dark and Wings contrast painters.
I use Rattling Grime as a wash. I'll walk that right down. That's good for a wash, even though
I'm quite a big fan of Gargarax Sewer.
Yeah, that's
I am. Yes.
as well.
Yeah, that's I've been using that as a what I've been to add a bit of texture to my mainly silver Necrons. I've been putting Gargarax Sewer in between the joints, so it's got a little bit more sort of build up of dirt. And actually, if you look in there, it just makes it look as if there's maybe a bit of rust, maybe a bit of dirt built up in it, as opposed to just being silver with a black wash. But yeah, I do have to say I quite like painting Necrons because they're just dead easy. I painted that in an afternoon from start to finish. But,
and what Necrons are male and what are female?
Well, I don't know if you can tell from a skeleton, can you?
Well, if you look at the Wargame exclusive models, then the female ones have got boobs because that's what they do.
But that just doesn't make any sense to me.
They just slap boobs on everything, just so you know there's a difference in it. Yeah. Strange company.
I just don't get stuff like that, because it just one of the people who I've been gaming with for since uni, Rachel, I've been gaming, she's been in the hobby from there. And actually, one of the things which I see which disappoints me is actually that there's a lot of there seems to be a lot of women and girls out there in the hobby who just get abused for being female, and that just doesn't sit well with me.
Oh, not at all.
I mean, just as a general human being. But again, then if you're going to, how should I put it? Slapping boobs on armor plates, or stuff just for the sake of doing it. Why are you doing it? Are you doing that for a design choice, or are you doing it for for what reason?
You know what it comes down to as well, and I stopped playing beat 'em up games for this one specific reason.
Yeah.
If they had a female character, she always had big. I mean, I'm a big Jug fan, right?
Yeah.
But they always had big, massive, bouncing boobs. So it's like, hi.
The Dead or Alive series wasn't for you then.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair enough if you're a 14-year-old boy and you're thinking that's amazing, but it's like, no, wait.
Yeah.
No.
Also, as well, I work in a predominantly female profession. There's the ratio of men to women in nursing is about 10% male profession, and 9% female profession. But also as well, it's there's a lot of bias in it, because actually when you look at the management side of it, 50% of nurse managers are male to 50% of them being female, which just seems it seems bizarre when I read the statistic, and then thought to myself, well, I'm actually now in a management position. But it's just one of those things. And actually, there's a lot of creative female artists out there.
Yeah.
Rachel, my friend, who I've mentioned, who I've been gaming with for years, is a fantastic painter. She's incredibly talented with the stuff which she does. I'll send you a link to her account in a little bit.
Yeah.
But we meet up every Thursday. We have games, but we still meet up and play D&D on Monday evenings. So that's always that's always.
We've had some fantastic painters on here, and we've also had test paints models as well. Do you know what I mean? So we've had some really good. We've had some really good females on as well as his.
There's people like Velvet Plum, the Space Marine. Her command of colours and pastel colours is just fantastic. If you've seen her Harlequins, her Harlequin jet bikes, they're astounding. Just the blends on them from transitioning from one colour to another. I'm trying to think who else I'm thinking of. In regards to colours, but yeah, I think there's a lot of talent out there, and actually one of the big things
and I think as well, I think a lot of it comes down to jealousy, and the reason being I'm saying that girls have been putting makeup on themselves and their dollies for years, so they understand colours and blending than a lot better than some of us men would do. So if a new girl comes into the hobby, for example, we had, I can't remember her name now recently, and she only get into Warhammer through her boyfriend, and she sometimes gets a bit of shade because and you think it's because she's that good that you're feeling as though you've been undermined, that you've been putting 20 years into this, and a lassie, you know what I mean? It's like, grow up, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Because actually, and I hadn't actually considered it from that point of view. That's a very good point in regards to it, because you ask a man to contour, and he might show you a map.
Yeah, it's like, see these circles. That means the hill's going up.
That represents the hill.
Yeah.
In regards to,
right, guys, I'm going to have to call it time there. Unfortunately, we should chat to you for hours, Dave. And obviously, once we've had the schmo down, and if you're king of the castle, we'd love to have you back on and continue our chat before the end of the year, mate. Because as I said at the start, if it wasn't for you doing your thing, then I probably wouldn't have thought of this. Do you know what I mean? And also big shout out to Casey and Simon as well, who actually invited me into some of their streams and gave me the confidence to be doing streaming as well. Because I didn't have the confidence, but when I've seen my peers and Casey doing it, then I thought, well, if Casey can do it,
if I can do it, anyone can bloody do it.
That's the thing. I think the thing is with streaming, you've kind of got to make that first jump, and you don't know what it's going to be like. I went on, and the easy thing to do is to jump on a friendly one. So Ryan's paint parties, although they are getting progressively later and later to join in on. But those are great. Those are great fun to go on, and actually going on that is actually. Those have got a those are quite positive to sort of go on, because actually they're like-minded people. You watch one and you can sort of blend into it. But I think I should probably go, because my other cat's come in now and he's absolutely drenched as well. So they've just been, so one's sat on my box of miniatures and the other one's just there. So
this is your right now, Dave. If people don't follow you or anything, where can they find you for all your stuff?
So my tag is at Dave Hammer 40k, very original. I'm on there. I'm always happy to, as a part of my account, if you follow me, I'll follow you back in regards to it. I think I follow more people than follow me, which is one of those things. But actually, it's quite nice because you see more stuff by people. You might not see people's stuff regularly because you've got lots of people on the story, but actually you'll see things as you go along, which you might not see, if that makes sense.
Anything from you, Casey?
No, nothing from me tonight. Apart from, actually, I'll say it now, quick. No show next week. I'm away. Dunk's away. So you're not going to see our faces for a week, and then the week after that, I might not be about either because I'm turning 40.
Right,
happy birthday.
Well, actually, he's talking right. So we get no Inquisition on next Wednesday, but we do have one this Sunday with Elements
Oh.
of Power. And because we've been flat out doing this since October, we're going to take a wee break.
Yeah.
And then we'll be back for Casey before he's 40.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Right. Cool.
See you later,
Right.
guys.
Thanks very much for coming on, Ian, folks.
Cheers,
Have
Domino
a
Dave.
blessed rest of your week, and we'll see you on Sunday with Elements of Power.
Good
Au
luck.
revoir.
See you later. Bye.